Okay. Good morning. Yes, still morning? Good morning. Seems like a long way already. All right, we're from Lewisham College. My name is Phillip, Pennant.
Suval, Thompson.
Derry.
Omanyo.
Aigbokhai.
Okay. Last year we ran a project. We started a new VLE system called Moodle, and it was obvious from the start the staff didn't know what they were doing, basically. So what we've done is we named our project eMe project and eMe champions, and you'll soon become aware why we did that, and invited the students to lead on it. So once with Michelle film of how it all came together and what we did, we'll ask some questions afterwards, but please feel free, if there's anything that's interesting, we can stop and have a little discussion on it, yeah? So with that in mind, we should go, yeah? Okay? Want it? Okay, I'll do this, technology. Is that nice? Should the music accompany this? But the switch from Mac to PC, I don't think it's worked very well. So probably we do some narration. All right, thank you.
So about the music.
There's a couple of things that came in there that we was talking about this morning, especially about the virtual classroom. We're now, since then, have been developing webinars, and we're trialing and piloting, doing stuff on webinars, doing virtual classrooms. We've had a couple of runs with Warsaw College, and they've been really well received so far by the students. There's so much further we can go with technology, as we all know, but are we overkilling it? That's what we are not sure. If we're going too far, we're going too fast. Sometimes as teachers, we can either leave the students behind, or in effect, it's usually the other way around, where the students leave us behind, especially when it comes to technology. Our challenges when we first started was to get the students using the technology that we knew. The trouble is that they took it, as we found out, they took to it a lot easier than we did. We did staff surveys and audits and see where our skill base lied and where there were obvious gaps, and we found there was more gaps in the staff than there was in the students. So that's one of the things that we needed to address fairly quickly. So within a project, with the help of the students, we got the staff trained up to actually understand what the Moodle platform was. We brought together the students, and as you can see there, we designed our own logo. We took the students away to the Cotswolds up in, where was it? Near Cirencester, a place called Macaroni. It was absolutely brilliant. Took them out of their comfort zone, basically. And then we did some brainstorming and stuff like that and come up with these ideas. It's significant where we go from here. Do we stop here, or do we carry on with technology in the way that it's progressing so quickly? We don't know. We don't know what's coming around the corner. Again, lots of colleges give their students a laptop. We're doing, as I said, we're using the webinars. One of the surveys we did was accessibility. Where we're based in London, which is an inner city, not a lot of our students have access to the kind of technology we're talking about, internet all the time. So that's one of the challenges, and with the cuts in education, we're not sure how we can address that. But that's one of the things we need to do. If we're looking at virtual classrooms, then what's the use of having virtual classrooms if people can't access it? Yeah? Any questions? I'm going to leave these guys to give the question, answer the questions. Yeah?
How did you go about recruiting your champions? How did you become involved in it all?
We press game. No.
You press game. Oh, no,
No, it was quite obvious. I'll let them answer this in a minute, but it was quite obvious that we was really interested in technology. And we kind of got a range of people that, students or learners that knew the technology itself and some of them that didn't. And that made it more interesting for us to see. You've got the top end where they're using it all the time, and the others that, again, we're from the diverse community we come from. We've got students who ESOL, different languages and so on, and the economic as well. So we had to look across the college itself or our department to see how we can address that. A lot of students volunteered. Some of them we thought it would benefit for them to come in, so obviously we kind of encouraged them. But again, guys, you probably can expand on that more, how we got you involved.
Well, it's just mainly interest and how often we use the MRR and the module, you know. Some students use them more than others, and depending on which kinds of activity you did in modules, you know. And depending on that, we had a meeting, and those who had major interest in this came out and we studied this. But personally, you know, first of all, I would just like to give my experience as 3 years ago when I first arrived in this country. I'm from Kenya, by the way. I had never used a computer and I didn't even know what I was going to do. Back home, everything was waking up, going to class, listening to the teachers, whether you're active or not. That's what happened. You had no choice, basically. Then I came over here, no handwriting, all the teachers want to work typed, you know, essays, and it's just horrible for me, to be honest. I had to start getting used to the technology world, and that's just how I started. Basically, I had to learn this, and then through my learning, I just enjoyed it, and I think the technology for me is just an option that is there and it keeps developing, and everybody needs this technology. Learning just became easy. I don't need to wake up. I used to wake up 4 o'clock in the morning to go to the morning prayers. Sometimes you're asleep, the teacher's teaching, you don't understand anything. So it's basically struggling to understand and do your work, and if you miss it, you missed it. So as in for here, it doesn't matter, I miss it, log in, find the tutorial. If it's through the Adobe or anything, Wimber, I just log back in and listen and plug in my headphone on the bus and the train. It's just basically easy and getting in touch with teachers as well. So that's how it was. So for me, the debate basically was a little bit, I was in the middle because it's effective as I've been in the past 17 years. There was no computers or anything, and then I'm coming over here. What I had there, it doesn't apply anymore. No pens, no books. I have to learn how to use a computer to go to the library. I can't be traveling to go to the library and then go back home to borrow books, and I can just do it at home. So, technology.
I was interested at what point or what stage students were taken on board to support the staff. In terms of, did you move from another platform, another VLE onto Moodle, and then decide straight away that you would use students, or did you see the lack of adoption to the new system and realise students could help afterwards? At what stage did they get involved?
We had Blackboard.
Yeah, I was instrumental in bringing Blackboard to the college and developing that. So we had that for about 3 or 4 years. We didn't think it could go as far as we would like it to do, and the students were struggling actually to actually communicate and interact with Blackboard. It was just a matter of putting up the work up there, and it was digitalized work basically. And then our department, the quality department, e-learning, brought in Moodle, which we didn't realise how to use. So a lot of the staff, obviously, we've got staff that would just automatically be able to use these, and others did. So my project was to enhance that, and that's what we thought of bringing the students in. and seeing how we can actually push it to them, but it actually turned out the other way. So probably again, their experience of how they got onto the project. The project actually started off just to see how we can use the platform, and it became apparent very quickly that we needed students there to, instead of just giving them the work on there, how we can interact and be more
So
social.
kind of integral part of the migration from Blackboard to Moodle.
Yeah, just to add to that, as Phil says, we had the Blackboard platform historically at Lewisham College, and the decision was taken to move over to Moodle as an open source package for economic reasons, as well as the range of functionality which it was apparent Moodle had and Blackboard didn't have. And the role of the champions was very much in identifying what sort of features were useful, working with tutors as well to identify areas which would benefit them more specifically, and ironing out kinks with the use of certain activities and resources in the Moodle repertoire, which came up obviously when we rolled out at first. So they played a really huge part in helping us to work out how we should put up the resources, how they should look, the look and feel of the whole Moodle site in itself, the logos, the graphics, pretty much everything they had to say.
Yeah, it's just that the Blackboard was mainly difficult to interact with teachers and accessing your emails and stuff, because with the Moodle, we had to be in college to log in to check your emails and everything, but with the eMe now, you can check it anyway.
And also with eMe, in February 2011 this year, we started to use Turnitin. For example, in my course business, we can hand in our work and turn it in, and they can see how much work we actually have copied from the internet, or how much we have done ourselves.
When I was on a course in Lewisham College, I used to turn in my work on by creating a view, and teachers would access it and give me feedback based on my view.
Just to add, views, the native website, which you can develop in the Mahara e-portfolio. So it allows you, it's basically a content management system that lets you import blogs, external URLs, upload files, etc. There's quite a range of content that can be embedded in a view.
And the great thing about the views is that you can share it with others, or you can not share it with others. So again, it was their choice if they shared it with us or shared it with other people. And again, you've got blogs, and one of the comments feedback we got was very interactive, like Facebook, and a lot of them used it like Facebook, which was good. Which is what we're trying to encourage, that they use it like they would use any other social interaction site.
Can I ask the students about you've got lots and lots of different tools there, haven't you, both in the VLE and in Mahara as well?
Yes.
Do you find that you and your colleagues are quite confused about which tools to use?
No, I think young people, if I may say so. I think we can adapt quite easily to new features and to technology, so I think it's quite easy for students to actually find out how to, or get, find out how to use it for their own work and create use, etc. So it's quite easy to use it.
Yeah, and as well from the feedback, as we saw, despite the fact that majority of them are using Gmail, which is obvious, but 99% of them are creating their views, which with the aim that, when they finish college, they will be able to use these CVs and cover letters just to send it to the employers. Like what I've been doing, I've been applying for jobs, and just basically I didn't need to do this because I already had my CV and everything, so just send the link. And it's just quite easy like that. So majority of them, they create views basically.
going to say, just to follow on from that, how much support do you think the students have needed in using that to create CVs and online views for employers to view? Have you pretty much just taken on and run with it, or you need?
Well, the thing is that at the beginning of the year, at the induction, you know, some of us champions, we had to introduce people and show them how to do these things so that we can just adapt, and then as they get used to it, and if they had any problem, they'll contact us because we're on the Moodle, so we can just choose the champion in the group, ask for help, and
Also, it's the champions that have been mostly offering some of the support.
yeah, so they're offering the support, so we are all available.
Are you being paid? Well, no, I just wanted that sustainability of that.
No,
You're not paid, so you just wanted to.
Yeah.
I think the only benefit they got out of it was to go into the Cotswolds.
Yeah, we go out to bring more.
Just to add a point about the sustainability, it's very much the plan that the model will continue, the sort of champion model, especially given that we're moving into other technologies like Adobe Connect and Skype to some degree, with limited applications. But depending on the context, yeah, we envisage another crop of champions coming up and sort of cascading that confidence and ability across the board. That's yeah, pretty much where we're thinking to go with that.
Any more?
Did you have any resistance from the teachers?
Oh,
Yes.
Huge
resistance.
Yeah. I think with any technology, it's the way teachers are. I think some teachers like to still chalk and talk. Some teachers will open-eyedly go into it, but they've not got the training to do it. So it's winning them over and showing them that it's not as hard as it looks. And I think with using the students, it made a lot of difference. So I know Kelly, he sat with a few of our teachers and actually took them through it. And what we've got now, teachers are using it for blogs with their students, forums. Most of our courses now, all of our courses are on the VLE. So they cannot deny that it's there anymore, and they're going to use it, and they've still got resistance. And I think if we go for another 100 years, we still have a form of resistance from some.
Yeah.
The majority is still.
Definitely. I think many people, staff and students who are new to this, experienced trepidation, to put it mildly, and yeah, we expected that. But the leadership, by example, on the part of these guys was great. Really kind of brought people into it.
Can I ask one more question? If you're going on to university, I don't know if you are going to university.
Kelly's actually in university.
So yeah, you've experienced this campus here. What would you expect, having had this experience in Lewisham College?
Well, after having this experience, actually, when I went to university, basically, everything was just simple. And during the induction, obviously, university introduced us to things like this, using library and searching sources, and just mainly what I've been doing in college. So for me, it's just quite easy and straightforward. Turn it in, and just basically, well, there's nothing new. The only new things like what you're trying to investigate, like using the Wimber, like just we are on half term right now, but just a week ago, our teacher was in the university, and what she did, she just sent us a link and told us that she was having a classroom, so if we want to join, we can join. So I was at home, in fact, in bed, I just logged in, and the lecture was on. And we asked questions, you know, good thing with marks, you can see each other and ask questions. So that's how we're moving on. I think it'd be good if college can do that, so just they move to university.
So the transition was quite easy.
Yeah, quite easy. So instead of focusing on learning new things, just continue my education.
I'm conscious we're close to lunch, but I'd be interested to hear. We assume that there will always be teachers who are going to be resistant, and we know that's the case. But actually, the research also suggests there are students who are not welcoming of technology and who are resistant as well. So I suppose the question is, have you encountered students, your peers, who are resistant, and how have you dealt with it? And is it okay for students to be resistant and not want to use technology?
I would say you always encounter resistance, as Mr. Pennant said, but there's a thing of, if you encounter resistance, you also have to share your experience. You can't actually say, oh, you shouldn't have resistance because it's an opinion. So what we have done, I myself haven't encountered resistance. It's just a fact of they haven't used it as much as I myself do. So yeah, that's what I've done.
I encountered resistance from one of my friends, but then when I showed my friend how to do something, she said, "That's all I have to do?" And and I said, "Yes," and then she said, "Okay." But then she still didn't want to use it after that, but she still knows how to do that.
And it's also accessibility as well. These guys are in a good position where they've got technology at home, internet, but we know in our community where we are, that not everyone can afford a computer. What we're trying to do as a college is trying to equip them with it, but obviously, you know, we're constrained by the funding we're getting. In an ideal world, everyone should have, be able to walk around with a laptop and plug in and play. But reality is that's not going to be. We will always have that until we can do that.
But then some of them, you just have no choice. You just have to try your best. Well, there's nothing I could do. I tried to take it.
But that's okay.
How many children have you got in total?
12.
It's 12, isn't it?
Any more? Malcolm said it's coming up to lunch.
Okay, so thank you very much.